Hello everyone, I'm Woman International Master Knarik and I'm using the chesswithknarik.com website to record this video. In this video we're going to analyze this pawn endgame where white has an extra pawn and white and black have a pawn on the A file. It's a rook file, so that's interesting to keep in mind in all our calculations. Now let's see. So in previous videos, we already saw that if we have an extra pawn in a pawn endgame, we can use this as a factor that helps us gain time. For example, if black needs to waste time to capture that pawn, we can use this time to move to the other side of the chessboard, try to capture the pawn and promote and win, while black is busy capturing this pawn and wasting time. But at the same time, we need to remember that the pawn that we have, it's a pawn on the edge of the chessboard. It's a rook pawn, which means that not only is it's not actually enough for us to capture that pawn for us to win this game, but in addition to capturing the pawn, we also need to make sure that our king reaches one of the key squares, which is b7 and b8. If you watch the videos that we have recorded on the rook pawns, that we will see that these are key squares that we need to occupy with our king, one of these squares, in order to make sure that we are promoting our pawn. If black with their king manages to stop us from moving to one of those squares, for example by moving to c8 or by moving to c7 or b8 or a8, and we're unable to move our king to one of the key squares, then black will be able to make this a draw. So going back to the initial position, this was the position. So it's true that I'm going to leave my pawn to be captured with my king, move to the other side of the chessboard, move to the queen side. But when should I do that? It's important because also in my calculation, we said we should make sure that whenever we capture, we be able to move to one of the key squares later. Now let's try this. What if right away I just leave my pawn and move to the other side of the chessboard? Will I be able to win this? Let's say black captured, we're moving to the other side, black is following us, we're moving to the other side, black is following us, and here we go. Already black managed to stop us moving to one of the key squares. Now even if we try, black can simply move to the corner, and that is definitely a draw. So moving away right away, leaving our pawn, is not gonna be good for us. But what we need to do is this. If we just wait for the black king to move away, and then we start moving to the other side of the chessboard, then black will have to lose time, lose a move, so that first they try to get close to our pawn, and on the second move they will be able to capture, versus when we were directly leaving the pawn, black was capturing right away, which was being good for black. So let's go. So what if we wait for the black king to move away and then we leave our pawn? Let's say in this position, what if now I just leave my pawn, black moved to capture my pawn, they had to waste a move, right? And then I move away. Already we gained some time because black had to waste time in order to capture our pawn. And let's see now if black will be able to stop us from getting to one of the key squares. Black is trying for sure, going as fast as possible to either c7 or c8 or b8 or any square that stops us from moving to one of the key squares. And now it's white's turn. What should white play if white wants to make sure that white is moving the king to one of the key squares? And yes, the move is king to b6, because in this way we're shouldering off the black king, not allowing the black king to come closer and stop us moving to the key square. And there we go, our next move. In our next move we already moved to the key square. If we go back, of course it was going to be not good if we move our king to a6 and then try to move to b7, because already black is not allowing us to move to that square and we won't be able to win this. Now let's go back. What if something else happens? For example, sometimes when I'm showing this position to my students and trying to analyze this together, trying to understand this together, after playing such moves, my students also try to push the white pawn, and let's say push it to several times, and then so that later they leave the pawn and go to the other side of the chessboard. What's gonna happen then? Now black captured, and it's true that black again wasted a move to capture our pawn, but what happened really is that now black got closer to closer in ranks, right, to the squares where they can use to stop us from moving to one of the key squares. And now we won't be able to move our king to one of the key squares. It's like we helped black get closer to the square that allows them to stop our king from moving to the key squares. So they move to a square where they're stopping us from moving to a key square, and we actually helped them by pushing our pawn, and the king was getting closer and closer while we were pushing the pawn. So the best solution is here not to push the pawn, but just keep the pawn this far and just wait for one move for black to move away, and then just get to the other side of the chessboard without pushing your pawn, so that you have enough time to capture the pawn and occupy a key square to win this endgame.